and Vice President, Marketing and Communications, Rachel Buchanan. Welcome. Nice to see you again. I saw you guys at the State of the City. How'd you think that was?
I thought it was great. I mean, I thought the turnout was fantastic. It's always great to hear updates, and I mean, obviously there's been some conversation around some of the decisions that were made last week, but I think that those discussions that have taken place, the information that they've heard, I think they're trending in the direction that they need to go, and they're listening to their constituents. So.
One thing I've noticed, Ryan, is there seems to be a lot of, you're involved with the city, with the county, with Accelerate Jackson County. It seems like you've made a concerted effort to make some relationships, really across the street and across the aisles.
Yeah, I mean, for us, you want to work with everybody. I mean, that's one of the unique spaces that a chamber gets to sort of sit in a community is that you can play the role of convener, but if you don't have those relationships and you're not willing to work with everybody, it makes it really challenging. So that's I think how we become successful as a chamber and as a community is by working together.
Well, today we wanted to have you here because at your annual meeting the other day you launched the next big thing. So we wanted to have you share that with our viewers.
Yeah, so that's a great segue. The next big thing is really, kind of working together. We're looking at doing and putting together a 20-year kind of county-wide vision plan that, you mentioned the county, you mentioned the city, involving government, involving, local nonprofits, businesses, and the residents as a whole. When you sort of look at what we have out there, as far as some of the amenities in the community, the quality of life, it's one of those areas where we score really highly. The chamber took a look at a lot of kind of growth communities that are our size around the Midwest, and there you have Elkhart, Indiana, and that's their community satisfaction score, and you see what Experience Jackson had from their survey last year, and we're pretty close. Elkhart's growing where Jackson County as a whole is sort of stagnated over the last couple of decades. And one of the things I said after our victory lap was, our quality of life's really good. There's no reason we can't be great,
Yeah, I think a lot of us longtime residents have realized things like the parks and, not having to get into traffic jams on the way to work every day, and having a relatively low housing cost. That's really, we've known that. And how does that translate? How do we maintain that, with growth, and make it something that is an attractor as well?
Yeah, well, and Rachel's been here a lot longer than me. I mean, what's your take on that?
Well, the beauty of the Jackson community, whether the county, the city, any of the areas that it encapsulates, the beauty of that getting better is that it's going to be that attractor that becomes the thing that brings people in to visit, that gets them the bug of loving this place and seeing what we have to offer, and then potentially making it their home. So that's why we say quality of life, housing, all the things that go into a vision plan like this all kind of build on each other, even when it comes to a visitors bureau who's traditionally only people here coming for a moment.
So we want people to come here.
Yeah, I think when you talk about the housing specifically, yes, it looks like it's very affordable. When we did some research on it, we looked at sort of growth communities that are our size. What we found was you wanted to be affordable compared to the national median, and when you look at where we are versus the national median, we sit about $130,000 shy of that.
So we're too low.
You can almost be too low for growth because it's about quality and quantity of housing stock as well. And so I think there's efforts being made here in the community. Obviously, the new news on the Hayes Hotel, the 100 Homes program. You see new houses popping up, and I think we're starting to make headway on those things. But a 20-year plan can really help focus a lot of those efforts. We have so many incredible organizations and people and businesses here in Jackson that do so much for the community. And if we're able to align all of those folks under, to the same goals over 20 years, think about what we can accomplish.
So we have a time frame, which I think is an important part of having a goal. And we do have a stated goal. You've got actual numbers and accomplishments that are to happen in the time frame, right?
Well, I think a lot of those goals are going to come out of this process. You know, it's going to be a 9 to 12 month process that's going to engage, you know, the community kind of where they are across the county. You know, going down to Brooklyn, going out to Concord, you know, here in the city of Jackson, and out of that we're going to hear, you know, sort of what residents' wants and needs are. And then we already know what some of those growth communities are doing, and so now we can kind of put those pieces together and say, okay, these are the areas where maybe we can improve and we can do better.
One of the things that I've noticed seems to be an area you're really concentrating a lot of our, I guess, asset base on is recreation, and that I think is evidence that you've actually hired someone that is concentrating in that area.
Yeah, Steve has been an incredible addition to our team. Steve Trozen, last fall, I believe it was, he came in. And since he came in, you know, he's out there quite a bit. He's that guy that says a 150-mile bike ride is just a dip in the bucket, no big deal. So he's very trustworthy in the area, some incredible connections, and has really helped us see and connect with some of the right people, some of the right organizations, and some of the ways that we can take some of the things that we have that are this close and really help to see how we can develop those to turn into things that are attractive for people both locally and people coming in to visit. So
Last night, Ryan, someone said to me, and I won't tell you who it is, even when you ask me off the air, but they said to me, I'm going to align myself with Ryan. He seems to be heading in the direction I want to go.
Hopefully it was somebody good.
It was somebody good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's a great compliment.
Yeah, that's very flattering.
Yeah, so getting buy-in from the partners like the county, city, and others, business, that's a big part of it too, right?
Absolutely. You know, I think a big part of this, when you think about it, is when we think about where we want to be in 20 years, we know our educational attainment numbers here in Jackson County are lower than the state and national averages. You know, if we can raise those attainment numbers, you know, by nature, the per capita income is going to go up because businesses will be here because they want that talent. You know, and we want that to be widely shared prosperity across the board. You know, if it's just one sector or one group that's prosperous in 20 years, you know, we've sort of done a disservice for the community as a whole.
I think one thing that has been a roadblock for a long time is long gone, and I think, Rachel, you'll agree with me, the community's long-time low self-esteem seems to have evaporated.
yeah. Well, I think it's all about perspective, right? You know, how do you see yourself and where do you see yourself going instead of just staying where you're at, dreaming big. With a plan like this, you know, there are a lot of large organizations that are going to be joining us in this vision plan, but the beauty is it's going to be a vision plan for Jackson County. So as people are putting together strategic plans or wondering how they're going to fit into our community, this is going to be an amazing guideline that kind of keeps everybody in alignment to keep moving forward. So yeah, it's the perspective and kind of understanding that we can. Yes, you can. You know, like Bob the Builder says, right?
It's shaking off the Midwestern Eeyore complex, where you know, you walk around and it's probably going to rain.
We've got some things that have happened in the last few years. You know, the reconstruction of downtown, the Bright Walls, the I-94 reconstruction. All of those things are, I think, a bigger part to establishing a framework for what you are planning in the next 20 years.
Yeah, there's been a lot of groundwork laid over the last, you know, 5, 10, 20 years where we really feel like now is the right time to take this on. I think there's an appetite for it. I think, you know, people are starting to realize how much you can accomplish when you don't care who gets credit, and they're willing to work together like maybe they haven't before. And so, you know, we're really excited about getting this process started. And, you know, like I said, 9 to 12 months, and it's going to be an engaging process. We're going to want the entire community to take part in it.
And how do people participate? What's the I guess the product called, and how do we get on board?
Well, initially it'll be called Drive Jackson. We'll bring in a third-party vendor who specializes in this. They do a lot of comprehensive planning for communities. They do strategic planning for communities. They do these vision plans. And they really have a framework and kind of a playbook on how they manage these. So we'll start with putting together a committee of local people, and it won't all be executives and CEOs. It's got to be a mix that really represents our community. The county, the city, age groups. I mean, we certainly want young people to move here. That 18 to 35-year-old with a college degree. We've got some of those assets, so that'll be sort of step one, and then from there, we'll start planning out, hopefully by early summer, some of those community engagements all across the county.
All right, stay tuned. Great to have you here. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Our down the street neighbor from Experience Jackson and the Jackson County Chamber of Commerce, President and CEO Ryan Tarrant, and VP Marketing and Communications Rachel Buchanan.